This is truly important because each and every assumption that you make in your life at every moment has its corresponding world. So within the infinite parallel realities, you can transfer it to different worlds based on each assumption. And if you are truly observant of your assumptions, you will notice the power of your assumptions to change circumstances in your life which appear unchangeable. If you change your assumptions and you're observant of your assumptions and you watch them, you watch your assumptions and you're determined in that assumption, you can watch your world change right in front of your eyes, things that appear to be unchangeable. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are getting into Neville Goddard's Power of Awareness. This is chapter 17, All Things Are Possible. This is a great chapter. I've highlighted some points here I want to cover and break down for you guys. But the first part of this, he talks about Neville Goddard and all his experiences and everything that he's used the law of assumption for and all of his successes within the last 25 years of writing this book. Okay, so it is of great significance that the truth of the principles outlined in this book have been proven time and time again by the personal experiences of the author. So this is really important because Neville Goddard actually demonstrates, with his own testimonials about how the law of assumption has worked for him time and time again, just like I do in my channel for you guys. And I post, the testimonials of everyone in the channel that actually leaves comments about their testimonials. Then I repost them on the community wall. I mean, countless testimonials, which is another point of this chapter, which is having confidence in the law of assumption itself. That way you actually put in the work and are determined to change your world using the law of assumption, which is that confidence. So that is another big aspect, a topic within this chapter that we're going to cover today. Okay, so throughout the past 25 years, Neville Goddard has applied these principles and proved them successful in many instances. I mean, over and over and over and over again. He attributes to an unwavering assumption of his wish already being fulfilled and every success that he has achieved. Okay, so he was confident that by his fixed assumptions, his desires were predestined to be fulfilled. That means he was applying the law of assumption. He never questioned it. Once he started seeing the results of his manifestations using the law of assumption, he knew he had that confidence. He was confident that by his fixed assumptions, that everything that he had assumed that he already had, it was predestined to be fulfilled. And Neville Goddard was completely confident and had faith in his assumptions because he watched it materialize in front of his eyes with that awareness, the present moment awareness and that attention. And noticing when he changed his assumptions, he started to see his world change right in front of his eyes through his assumptions. And this is what builds that confidence in the law of assumption, guys. And this is very important. This is why I always post testimonials. This is why I talk about my own successes with my own testimonials, because this is really important to understand this, that have that confidence and actually put in the work and see your own manifestations materialize right in front of your eyes. Okay, so Neville Goddard would assume the feeling of his wish fulfilled and continue in his assumption until that which he desired was completely realized. Okay, so, but he also had that present moment awareness to where he would watch the world that he was living in would actually start to change as soon as he became a different version of himself. Like he took on a new concept of self and a new assumption, and then he would watch his world actually change right in front of his eyes with that present moment awareness. See people start to change. Things start to materialize and shift into different worlds by changing his assumption. Okay, so this is where Neville Goddard gives us some clues here. Okay, so live your life in a sublime spirit of confidence and determination, and disregard appearances, conditions. In fact, all evidence of your senses that deny the fulfillment of your desire. Rest in the assumption that you are already what you want to be. For in that determination, you and your infinite being are merged in creative unity. And with your infinite being God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible with your imagination. And God never fails. For who can stay his hand or say unto him, what doest thou? Daniel 4:35. Okay, so through the mastery of your assumptions, so the more work we put in, the more work you put in and start applying the law of assumption and start building your attention and start developing your present moment awareness, you will start to master the law of assumption and start realizing that you can change your world right now. You can actually shift to different parallel realities based on like transforming yourself into a different person and looking out into your world as this new person. And then you can actually witness your world and actually see your world change and materialize right in front of your eyes with that present moment awareness while assuming a feeling state or making an assumption or having a new present concept of self. And actually, if you're observant, you can actually witness your world change right in front of your eyes. All right, so I've highlighted this paragraph here because this is so important. If you can get this, if you can understand this and actually absorb your current awareness with these truths right here that I've highlighted, your entire life will change. You will have found the keys to manifest an entirely new life. Okay, so here we go. The clue to, or the secret, I want to say the secret, the clue and the secret to the real purpose of life is to surrender to your ideal, surrender to your new concept of self or your manifestation or what you want to see happen in your world as if it's already happened with such awareness of its reality, of it being real, that you begin to live the life of the ideal and no longer your own life as it was prior to this surrender. So you assume a new concept of self of already being the person you want to be or have the thing that you want to have, and who would that person be? And then you no longer live as if you are the person prior to that assumption. You have now died to your old self, have become a new version of yourself, and disregarded all appearances in your 3D world. So if you can get this right here, just get this and understand this right here, your entire world will shift. Your entire life will never be the same. Your life will never be the same if you apply this. The clue to the real purpose of life is to surrender yourself to your ideal with such awareness of its reality that you begin to live the life of the ideal and no longer your own life as it was prior to this surrender. And this was translated from Romans 4:17, which is, "He calleth things that are not seen as though they were, and the unseen become seen." This is from the Bible, guys, and this is exactly what we are talking about with the law of assumption here. He calleth things that are not seen as though they were. What does that tell you? That tells you that you need to assume something that isn't materialized in your 3D world, and you act as if it already has. And then the unseen will become seen. Then your world will have to transform with that. It was telling us about these corresponding worlds that we're living in the infinite realities in Romans 4:17. Okay, so this is really good right here. Okay, so each assumption has its corresponding world, okay? So every assumption that you have has a different world. It's going to take you to a different world. So you always have that ability to shift to an infinite or parallel reality by changing your assumptions. So no matter, just like my grandfather always said, he knew the secret. He knew the secret to changing or to solving any problem in his life by just changing his assumption. You shift to a different world. No matter what you are dealing with in your life, you can shift to an alternate reality by changing your assumption. Each assumption has its corresponding world. And if you are truly observant, this is where Neville Goddard gets into the awareness of it. If you are truly observant of this, you can prove it to yourself. You will notice the power of your assumptions to change circumstances which appear unchangeable. Okay, so if you are observant, you can make an assumption right now, like when this video is over, make an assumption like having something that you want in your life or actually solving a problem that you have in your life right now. Just do this after this video. Assume that problem is already solved just for a moment. Just do this for just a couple minutes. Just go into a meditation and then assume that problem is now solved, or this person is now healed, or you are now healed, or you already have this amount of money. Just assume that and watch where your thoughts go and watch your world start to change right in front of you. Like you'll even have like family members or friends, they'll start talking differently. Like what I've noticed in my life when I've done this, I'll start noticing that the people in my world are actually different now. And then things will start to change. Like these little things will start to change, and I'll start to notice that my world has changed. I've actually transferred to a different world by changing my assumptions. And like he says right here, you will notice that your power of assumptions will change the circumstances if you are truly observant and you have that awareness and you actually notice that and are watching your thoughts and watching your world, and you start to notice the things start to change. You will see this. So just do that after this video. Just do it for a couple minutes and really be presently aware of what the things that start to change in your world. Like, who is this person? This person wasn't like this yesterday, and all of a sudden they're saying these things today. So you've changed to a different parallel reality just by changing this, just by changing your assumptions. The people in your world will change. The things in your world will change just by doing this one thing. I'm challenging you to do that today. Sometime today after this video, just try that exercise, and then you can see it for yourself, and that'll build your confidence as well. Once you start noticing these things and start being observant of your world start to change with your assumptions, then you're like, whoa, this really works. And then that builds your confidence of really start making some big changes and really start changing everything about every aspect about your life. All right, so you, by your conscious assumptions, determine the nature of the world in which you live. Ignore the present state and assume the wish fulfilled. Ignore the present state and assume the wish fulfilled. Claim it, it will respond. The law of assumption is the means by which the fulfillment of your desires may be realized or will be. Every moment of your life, consciously or unconsciously, you are assuming a feeling. That is very, very true. We are always assuming a feeling. You're always in a specific mood, and you're always having specific thoughts, whether unconsciously or consciously. So take control of that. Like what he says right here, you are assuming a feeling. You can no more avoid assuming a feeling than you can avoid eating or drinking or breathing. All you can do is control the nature of your assumptions. This is a big part right here. Control the nature of your assumptions. Be observant of your assumptions, of your feelings, of your moods, and start changing them. Stop reacting to your 3D world. Like Neville Goddard says, be an actor. God is an actor. Satan is a reactor. So if you're reacting to the day's events, then you're doing Satan's work. Then you're recreating those things to happen again. But if you're a creator, you're doing God's work, and then you're changing it. You're not reacting to your 3D. You're actually reacting internally. You're actually changing your internal world, which are your assumptions, your feelings, your thoughts, changing your world to changing to corresponding worlds based on that assumption. So that's huge right here. All you can do is control the nature of your assumption. Thus, it is clearly seen that the control of your assumption is the key you now hold to ever expanding, happier, more noble lives. All right, guys, the next chapter here will be chapter 18, Be Ye Doers. I absolutely love this chapter. We'll be getting into that next, but let me give you a brief recap here. Okay, so from this entire chapter, I think the most important part of this was right here, and that is the secret to the real purpose of life and to change your life is to surrender yourself to your ideal with such awareness of its reality that you begin to live the life of the ideal and no longer your own life as it was prior to that surrender, which is right here from Romans 4:17. He calleth things that are not seen as though they were, and the unseen become seen. So this was telling us the secret of the law of assumption in Romans 4:17. And also, each assumption has its corresponding world. Change your assumptions, you're changing your world, and you have that ability to transfer to different parallel realities based on your assumptions. So be observant, start watching your assumptions, your feelings, your moods, because that is the reason you are in the world you're living. So change those, be observant, have that awareness of changing your assumptions, live as if you already have it, and then observe your world start to change based on your new assumptions, guys. And try that exercise by assume that you already have something or you've already got this problem solved, and be observant of your world start to change right in front of your eyes. All right, guys, I love you guys very much, and I will see you guys in the next video. And don't forget to give me one thing you guys are grateful for. Thank you.